Did you know that you can have the same monochrome profile from the OM System OM-3 on any Olympus and OM System cameras? This effectively turns them into powerful black and white machines. I'm going to share this trick and a few other tips on black and white photography in this video. Let's do this! Surprise! I have a guest all the way from Finland. Hi Matti, how are you?
Hi Robin, I'm good and so happy to be here again in Kuala Lumpur.
Welcome back to Kuala Lumpur.
Thanks man, thanks.
And you guys, you know what? Matti, I think he's a big fan of black and white photography, is that right?
That is true, that is true.
Why do you like black and white photography, Matti?
Well, one of the reasons is, of course, that I learned my photography with black and white film and simple film cameras. There's part of it is nostalgia, of course. But I like the simplicity of black and white. You can forget all the colors and all that distraction. In a way, it's more simple. Many of the great legendary photographs were shot in black and white film. It was a big inspiration to me when I was starting out. So those are some of the reasons why I really like black and white.
Before we share more tips, how about we go and get some shots, Matti?
Let's get some shots in grayscale, black and white.
The monochrome profile was first introduced in the Olympus Pen F. It was made available for the Olympus EP7 and subsequently the OM System OM-3. The amazing thing about this monochrome profile is the extensive controls over color filters and various adjustments to create the very customized and special black and white effect. I don't have the Pen F or the EP7 or the OM-3. What I have here is my own Olympus EM1 Mark II, which is a fantastic camera. And I'm going to show you how I can apply the same monochrome profile on this EM1 Mark II and any other Olympus and OM System cameras. The trick is to shoot raw and apply the monochrome profile in post-processing using the OM Workspace software. Before I demonstrate how I can do that, let's go around and take more photographs. Once you have loaded the raw image in the OM Workspace software, you can apply the monochrome profile. Go to the Edit panel on the right, On the third tab, which is the basic tab, go to the picture mode. Inside the picture mode, in the drop-down menu, go all the way down to Monochrome Profile. Once you have activated the Monochrome Profile, you have several settings to play with. You have the color filters, you have the level of intensity, you have picture tone, and you can add film grain effect if you want to. What we are most interested in is in this color filter. As you play around with the different color filters, you can have different color effects. For example, if I go to this greenish or blue, you can see how the color changes on the image. Now if I go to the extreme red, you can see the color changes as well. If that's a little bit too much, you can dial it back 1 or 2 notches. You can see how it affects the image as well. I'm just going to cycle through the different colors to see the different effects that this is going to bring. This is very useful if you want to adjust the color filters individually, and I'll show you in some of the situations how this can help. One good example is to use this monochrome profile to lighten the skin tone of your black and white portraits. Now I'm going to apply the orange filter. I'm going to go all the way out to level 3. Once I've applied this, you can see that the skin tone is lighter. If you want to make it even brighter, you can use the red one, but I think that's going to be a bit more extreme. Just going to show you. Yes, that's going to turn it into a white person, but I think that's a little bit too intense. You can dial it down a few notches and it will appear a little bit more natural. One popular use of the color filter is to darken the sky. By applying the red filter, I'm just going to go all the way out to level 3. You can see the sky is effectively darkened. If you don't want it to be that intense, you can dial it back a little bit. 1 or 2 notches, you can see it appears a little bit more natural compared to without applying the filter. Here it's very bright, and I've applied the filter here. It's a little bit darker. I think it's important to note that every single image is different and you can't just use one color filter and apply it to all images. You have to play with them individually. The color intensity and what's captured in the image is different from one to another. Like for this portrait here, I'll probably apply the orange filter. I'm going to go all the way out. You can see how it lightens the skin tone. Okay, maybe this is not enough. I want it to be even lighter. I'm going to use the red filter. And here you can see the skin is a lot lighter now. Here is an important note. The monochrome profile is not available in cameras older than the Olympus Pen F. Say you have the EM5 original, which was released before the Pen F. Even if you use the OM Workspace software, there is no monochrome profile setting for you to apply. Matti, since you have been shooting black and white since the film days, I'm sure you have a lot of tips and tricks to share about shooting good black and white photography. Please do share some with us.
All right, I think it's pretty clear that black and white is only about grayscale. There are no distracting colors. Let's say if there's a red dot against a green background, it's not so distracting in black and white. So it's all about the shapes and forms and shades in the picture. And I think, in my opinion, light becomes maybe even more important than in color pictures, because you can't play with colors and they have no meaning. Of course, different colors have different shades of gray, but it's still, like I said, it's not, some colors are distracting sometimes, but in grayscale they are not. So I think you have to pay more attention to the light, even more than in color pictures. So my first tip is to pay attention to the light and see how the light works. the scene.
I agree with Matti. I think now that we don't have colors, lighting is even more important to consider for your black and white. It shapes the shadows, it highlights the certain parts, make it more three-dimensional, more depth, adds depth to your photographs.
Yes. Another benefit or advantage of black and white is that it also works great in low light or at high ISO settings. You specifically said I must not talk about camera settings, but I'm gonna say that black and white works really well even if you have high ISO settings or a lot of noise. I'm not saying you should save your ruined color shots by turning them into black and white, but if you have to shoot or if you want to shoot at high ISO, create some noise in your pictures, it works really, really nicely in black and white because it's not so sensitive to noise,
Correct.
in my opinion at least, as color pictures.
And I think noise or the grain in the photographs looks very nice in black and white.
Yes.
That's why, you know, like certain camera brands, let's not name names, will add those fake grains into their images in the film simulation effect. So we can do that by just shooting high ISO anyways.
Yes, I'm not a big fan of those fake grainy pictures because they don't look like film pictures, and digital noise also, it doesn't look like like a real film grain. But what I'm saying that maybe you can more freely use high ISO and shoot in very, very low light, for example. It looks great in black and white.
I agree.
And another tip would be that feel free to experiment other than super high contrast black and white. In many cases I see, especially younger photographers, when they convert their pictures, color pictures, into black and white, they crank up the contrast way too high, in my opinion. Sometimes it works, but it's not like every black and white picture should be like super high contrast.
Agreed.
When you look at old film pictures, some of them are really low contrast, subtle grayscale tones.
Yes.
And for some subjects, it works really, really nicely, and the end result is just beautiful, gorgeous. So feel free to experiment with the contrast slider. Also, maybe to the other or left, towards left, not only towards
to the right.
And use low contrast for some pictures. Experiment, and I think you're going to be surprised. It's going to look good.
I really agree with Matti. Like, I see so many modern black and white photographs. The blacks are totally crushed to black. The white is so white. There's no middle ground. And I think sometimes the details in the midtones are also very important. They also can tell you some information or story to the photograph.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one more tip, if I may.
Of course, please.
Take a look at all the legendary photographers' black and white pictures and learn from them, and try to see how the shades of gray, how they complement the scene and how they used the shades of gray in their pictures. There are so many great pictures to look at, and you can learn a lot from them.
Those are fantastic tips, Matti. Thank you for sharing.
No worries.
And I hope you guys find them useful. And Matti, I remember you did a video on black and white photography topic before?
Yes, I have one pretty good one. It's a photo walk with my Nikon Z6 Mark III. I shot all black and white, and I think it's a pretty good video.
I'll put a link to Matti's video up here. Please check it out.
Check it out.
How about we go and take more photographs, Matti?
Absolutely. Black and white.
Yeah, black and white. That's all I have to share about the trick on how to use the monochrome profile on any Olympus and OM System cameras. I also hope that you found the tips on black and white photography shared by Matti Sulanto useful. If you found this sharing beneficial, if you've enjoyed looking at my photographs, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. Or you can contribute directly to my PayPal, links in the description below on how you can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way, will definitely help me to continue making more content. Until the next one, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye!